Trustee Bertelson? Trustee Black?
Here.
Trustee D?
Here.
Trustee Lucine?
Excused.
Trustee Moran?
Here.
Trustee Neal?
Here.
Trustee Sandy Wilson? Trustee Sarah Wilson?
All right, well, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome to the June 9th Bozeman School District Board meeting. Thank you for joining us. Public comment will be taken throughout the meeting on agenda and non-agenda items. During public comment, no member of the public will be allowed to comment on contested cases or other adjudicative proceedings or personnel matters. The public portion of this board meeting are being recorded in accordance with the District Policy 420 and Section 2.3-214 MCA. By remaining in this meeting, all participants and attendees acknowledge that they may appear on the recording, which will be placed on the school district's website for a minimum of 1 year from today. Further instructions about participating will be provided throughout the meeting. Before engaging in the school business of the board, I would like to share the core purpose of the Bozeman School District, which can be found on the back of our nameplates and the wall to my left. It reads, Bozeman Public Schools exist to ensure high level of learning for all students. Now, CJMS, the Eagle Choir is here. Marjorie Phillips, if you guys would like to come forward. Ms. Phillips, could you wait for just a minute before you send them off? Because we'd be happy to have a picture with them up here. So if they went, yep, up here. And thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. Great job. And it looks like you guys had a great time on a trip, a good trip. So congratulations on that. But yeah, if you guys want to stand right here, we'll surround a little bit, maybe get a picture. Thank you. All right, thank you very much again. All right, we'll move on to 2.3 in our agenda, recognition and awards. Former trustee Tanya Reinhardt, if you could come up, take the hot seat. Do you want me to explain how the mic works? You know which button to push? All right, so Tanya, well, one, thank you for coming back tonight. We appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you've done over the multiple years of your service on the board. We'll first of all open it up. We have a little presentation for you towards the end, but we'll first of all open it up with any trustee comments to start. So we'll open with that. I don't know who seat 15 is, so somebody might have to raise their hand. Go ahead, Mark.
Tanya, first, I just want to thank you for your service to the board and this community and your unwavering dedication to public education. And obviously, as you know, but for everybody in the audience, when I ran for school board, it was alongside Tanya, and you were just a wonderful mentor and a lot of strength and guiding light during kind of a crazy time. And I really depended on your wisdom and experience, and so I hope you know how much that's appreciated, and I'm very grateful for you.
Thank you very much, Lauren.
Greg?
Tanya, thank you for everything you did for the Bozeman School District. You and I were attached at the hip for 2 years in board leadership, and I really appreciated the partnership that you and I had in that leadership room to support our superintendent and support our kids. And couldn't have done it without you, and all the time before and after that with the contribution that you gave to the school district. It's very recognized. You made a huge impact, and thank you for everything that you did, and good luck in trustee retirement.
Thank you very much. I'm failing so far.
Melissa?
Thank you, Tanya, for your dedication for 9 years to the Bozeman school system. And I'll never forget when I sent a letter in to the trustees during COVID, and your response, and you said, that was the best email we got out of all the emails we've seen all year. But thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Melissa. And I think it was because of the brevity, if I'm remembering correctly. Short, succinct, and to the point.
And then I have something from Gary, since he wasn't able to be here. He sent me an email and asked me to read it. So it says, Tanya, it has been a pleasure serving on the board with you. Your passion and commitment to our students, teachers, administration, and parents has been solid and productive. You always looked at everything with detail, asking good questions and providing very insightful feedback and information as we deliberated on many different issues. You have represented our district very well at MTSBA, delegate assembly meetings. When you've had resolutions before the group, you've spoken extremely well, and delegates in support of our resolutions. They all have passed and have resulted in positive legislation and policy for not only our district, but our districts in the state as well. You have a very positive influence in directing our district and all districts. I will miss you on the board, but wish you well as you move forward in friendship will not end. I look forward to connecting with you soon, and I'm sorry to miss you tonight's meeting as we recognize your relentless energy and commitment to our students, staff, and our community. Thank you for a great ride, Gary. Leano?
I don't want to repeat everything that everybody said because I agree with that, but even more than that, just your friendship and your mentorship of me when I came on this board, your unwavering dedication. You always have kids in mind, and I really just felt your advocacy for everybody in this community, so thank you. I know Sandy's going to present the award, but I just want to say in here is something to help relax you from all these tense board meetings over the years. And there's also an engraving that I want you to look carefully at and think about. It's about that you keep the kids in the center of the room.
Thank you, Leanna.
Go ahead, Sandy.
So I had to write my thoughts down, as I often do, to make sure that I don't forget anything. But when I think about you, Tanya, and your service on the board, the word service comes to mind. You spent your life serving others. You served in the military as your career. You did community service in a variety of settings, which you were recognized for several years ago. Your service through your church has reached so many people. And your job the current job that you're in was in service to veterans, and they're transitioning into public life. And currently, until now, your unwavering support, but you will support public education after this, but unwavering support for public education and the students and teachers it serves in our community. An incredible life of service, and I'm so grateful for all of that and knowing you. I'm not sure what your next steps in life are, but I'm certain it will involve serving others in some certain way, and I can't wait to hear and see what that is. It's been an honor serving with you throughout the years on this board. You have represented the board on numerous committees and consensus callings. You came to meetings prepared to discuss and debate the various issues that fall under the purview of the school board with integrity and with honor. And I have gained a friend that I admire, respect, and wish the best. Thank you very much for what you've done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Sandy.
Should I read the resolution? Okay.
If there's any other comments, anybody else? Go ahead, Casey.
Trustee Reinhardt, thank you for your years of service. I think I've mentioned this to you many times, but you ask thoughtful questions. You dig deep into issues, and you pushed me and this board towards excellence all the time. I appreciate your feedback over time. It was well thought out, and I grew a great deal under your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it my turn?
Sure, do you have some comments? In a public agenda setting, public setting?
Thank you for reminding me of that, Kevin. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you, the staff first and foremost, central office. You guys are amazing. I will so miss being inspired and challenged, Marilyn, by the different thoughts and ideas. Pat, thank you for always being open to sharing a quick joke about the Navy, if appropriate or inappropriate. Mike and Lacey, you guys are absolutely amazing. I already told Mike Waterman this weekend that we're going to have to figure out how I'm going to understand my taxes in the years going forward. So those are just the quick quips. Casey, the leadership that you have displayed at Bozeman Public Schools, it always takes a couple of years to see the impact of what somebody's policies and procedures are and the role that they take on as a leader of an organization. And when we sat at graduation this weekend, it was so evident that everything you have done has kept students in the center of this room, and you have made a phenomenal space for students. Thank you for all of it. As far as the board is concerned, everybody keeps asking how I feel about leaving, and I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the students and the teachers so very, very much. And I feel like this is the absolute perfect time to be leaving, because this board is highly, highly accomplished. Sarah, you are going to bring a new skill set that has not been seen at this level. Super excited for the expertise that you're going to bring, the passion, the understanding, having kids that are early on in their time at Bozeman schools. Sorry, this is a little harder than I thought. You're amazing, and I'm very excited for everything that all of you are going to continue to accomplish together. So thank you for keeping students in the center of the room. And a little shout out to the teachers that gave me this t-shirt when they found I wasn't running it again. And so I feel funny not wearing a bow tie like Douglas did, but please receive the message with the love as it intended. And thank you for all you do.
All right, with that, I have my mic, okay, good. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas Tanya Reinhardt was elected to the Board of Trustees on May 3rd, 2016, and whereas Trustee Reinhardt served on several board committees and also served as the board representative to the various schools during her term, and whereas Trustee Reinhardt served as a Board of Trustee Vice Chair from May 16th, 2022 through May 20th, 2024. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustee recognize and honor Tanya Reinhardt for her service to the Bozeman Public Schools and the Bozeman community.
Second?
Motion made by trustee Sandy Wilson, seconded by trustee Moran. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you.
And then Tanya, if you want to come around, we'll have a picture with you as well, with your reward. Tanya, you can stay for the whole meeting if you'd like as well. We always have public comment open. All right, next up, 2.3.2, 2025 softball all-state individuals. I think, Mr. Ader, I think I saw you. You start us off for this.
Good evening. I'll have Coach Coleman and Zoe come up here in just a second. The Gallatin High softball team made it to state for the second year in a row. This year, they won their first game, lost their next two at state. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, those two teams went on to play in the state championship. So Gallatin had a great season, beat everybody, and ended up losing to the top two teams in the state. So bring up Coach Coleman, who puts in a tremendous amount of time for the program.
The floor is yours.
Not often do I have this opportunity. So this year, Zoe being recognized with this award as our first ever all-state selection in softball. She's an outstanding student, she's an outstanding human, and she puts a ton of time in with her family and travels for the softball teams around the nation. So with that, her batting average was .554 for the year. She led the conference, and she was second in the state in that batting average. And we're just super proud of her. I'm going to give her some time and have her thank her family that's here to celebrate as well.
Yeah, I'm just super grateful for everyone who supported me in like these few years I've been putting in for softball, and my parents and coaches and amazing teammates that I couldn't do it without. And yeah, I'm very grateful.
Well, congratulations, Coach, on your guys' season. Congratulations on the All-State Award. We're changing a few things as far as for people that have been here on awards before. We'll have some comments from trustees, and then the person reading the award will do all the questions. So trying to maybe streamline stuff. But if anybody has some comments specifically for either of them, go ahead. Right now would be a good time, trustees. If not, I think Melissa, you're all set. So again, congratulations on your guys' seasons. That's awesome for what you guys did.
Zoe, what year are you at Gallatin?
I'm a freshman.
A freshman?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. And then did y'all have a JV and a varsity team this year?
Yes, we did.
How would you promote softball for, obviously Bozeman High only had one team this year. So what would you do to encourage kids, young girls, to get involved in softball?
I would say just like try it out. It doesn't have to be for you, but I mean, I stuck with it, and I know a lot of other girls who did. It's a great experience, whether you take it as far as you can and play at the college level or just do rec ball. It's super fun, and I've loved all of it. So,
Do you plan to play in college?
yes, I do.
Good. Well, congratulations. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Gallatin High softball team completed the AA State Softball Tournament in Great Falls, May 22nd through 24th, 2025, and finished the season with a 14-7 record. And whereas Gallatin High's Zoe Bassham was selected as first team All-State. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Zoe Bassham for this accomplishment.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Moran, seconded by trustee Dean. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion's passed 7-0. Congratulations, and then trustee Moran will meet you outside for a picture. So congratulations. All right, Mr. Ader, I think you're up again. For 2025 tennis state champions and individual champions and all state individuals.
All right, I'm going to bring up Coach Spacito from Bozeman High first. She'll introduce her Bozeman High all-state athletes. And then Coach Curry from Gallatin High will bring his athletes up, and he'll introduce them and talk about their state championship.
And just a reminder to the coaches as well, if you can bring your players up with you, that would be great.
First, I want to say thank you for taking the time to acknowledge all our athletes and their performances. I'll introduce who I have here with me today. I have Harrison Rodar. He placed second in state for singles. And then I have one half of my third place doubles team. This is Colin Gross. They placed third. Together, overall, they tied for second as a team. So I think that speaks volumes about how much they achieved and what they did. And then I have my state champs for doubles, Isabel Barr and Sarah Sanford. They won the state championship. and contributed to our overall third place for Bozeman. So congratulations, you guys. Really proud of all your effort.
Congratulations. Great job. Make sure you thank your parents for putting all the time in, and then also your coaches. So thank you for everything that you're doing for the school district. Do you want to ask your questions now?
First of all, congratulations, and it sounds like it was a pretty successful season. Will you each just say which grade you were in this year, and if you're a senior, what your future plans are?
I'm Harrison Rotar, and I'm a junior at Bozeman High.
I'm Colin Gross, and I'm a junior.
I'm Sarah Sanford, and I'm a junior.
My name is Isabel. I was a senior. I graduated on Saturday, and I'm actually going to be playing tennis at a school in Minnesota next year.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Coach, it sounds like you have some great players coming back next year. This is wonderful.
We're going to miss Isabel for sure. I've been here with her. We were here together last year.
Yep,
But yes, I've got my juniors returning.
it's wonderful. And then, so good luck in Minnesota, Isabel. And then, since there's only 4 of you, if you each want to share, maybe a favorite memory from this season or just something that sticks out.
My favorite memory from the season was I got to play doubles for 2 meets with my good friend that I introduced to tennis that just started a year prior, and we ended up going to a 3rd set with the 2nd place team in state, and I'd never played doubles in high school before.
My favorite memory for sure was winning that 3rd place match with Oliver, who's not here, but just being able to get that done because he was a senior. So that was super great.
My favorite memory was definitely winning state because I've tried so hard for the past 2 years, and then finally winning was really great.
Yeah, mine was also winning state, and also just the culture we have as a team. I think this year especially, we were very close as a team, the boys and girls team. So just all my teammates and coaches and support systems we had this year was just incredible. It's the best year for that by far.
Well, thank you and congratulations.
So we'll have, if you guys just want to step aside or go back to your seats, and then we'll do a reading at the very end. So when we get done with Coach Curry and his group, you guys come back up and we'll do a reading.
Alrighty, thank you for having us. I just want to review our all-state and championship teams. We had 11 players go to state this year. 7 of those players got all-state, which is a school record for us. Mason McCarty, who's not here, is our 3-time boys singles state champion. He's 65-0, never lost a match. He's only the 5th player in the state to ever win 3 state AA titles for boys, and the first one to do so in 13 years. Dean and Dylan, which Dean is here, they got 5th place in boys doubles, which was a huge accomplishment for them because they were trying to and working towards getting all state all 4 years, and they really finished strong by winning that 5th place match. Raina, which is here, right here, got 2nd place as a freshman in girls singles, which is really unheard of. She had an incredible year. She was 25-2. She was our division champion. And like I said, just a really impressive year for a freshman. Avery, who is here, also got 5th place in girls singles. She just had an amazing state tournament, worked her way through the back draw, won 4 excruciatingly long matches. She was kind of our dark horse of the team this year. And then Olivia and Alex, who are also here, placed 2nd place in girls doubles. This is the 4th year in a row that Olivia has placed in the top 3, and Alex has gotten all state all 3 years that she's been on the team as well. So they really did great. And then, as we said, our girls won state team championship for the first time in our school's history, which was really amazing. It truly was a group effort. We sent 6 girls from divisionals to state, and everyone contributed to that state championship by earning points and working together to do so. We kind of had just like a full squad that did it. We had the veteran, one senior who battled a bunch of injuries to get back and made it to the state championship game with her sister, which was really cool to see. Kennedy and Sophie had a really incredible end of the season and scored some points for us, really important points, and won a gutsy match at state to start things off. And like I said, Avery just had a really incredible tournament, which helped our team gain those extra points to win state, basically. And then lastly, Raina got second place, and only losses were to the eventual state champion all season long. So once again, a great freshman year.
Thank you. Thanks for all your work, dedication to the kids. I will just ask for the student athletes, if you're behind a column, they're really great for support, but we cannot see through them. So if everybody could maybe just slide this way. So there's a couple more. Hopefully your coach won't bite, so, all right. I guess first, go ahead, Lauren.
First of all, thank you, because I did want to see all your faces. And congratulations, especially with the first Girls State Championship. It is really awesome, and it's fun to see these firsts happening at GHS since we've only been open a few years. So that's wonderful. And then I think I heard your coach say there's only one senior, but will each of you tell me which grade you're in? And then for a lone senior, do you want to also say maybe some future plans if you have them?
One senior girl, one senior.
Oh, one senior boy too. Okay, so yeah, will you just tell us maybe your future plans if you have them? Or you could just say, I'm going to enjoy the summer and figure it out.
My future plans are to attend Colorado State in the fall, and I'm not going to play for a team, but I'll play club, and I'll continue to do USTA tournaments.
I'm going to the University of Miami in the fall to study music and computer science.
Wow. Very good. Well, good luck to both of you. And then the rest of you, will you just tell us what grade you're in this year?
I'm Sophie, I'm a junior. I'm Avery, I'm a junior. I'm Alex, I'm a junior. I'm Raina, I'm a freshman.
That's wonderful. And hopefully we'll see you back here next year. And then if all of you or a few of you would like to share a favorite memory, that would be awesome.
Well, for me, the boys won state 2 years ago, and it was a lot of fun to be there for that, and then just to see the girls do the same thing before I leave, that full circle moment was definitely a lot of fun. And it was also really nice to host everything, like we hosted divisionals and most of our matches and also state. So it was nice to have everything close by and just, inside jokes, fun stuff with the team, like at the banquet where we all give each other gifts. So a lot of fun, and I'm going to miss it for sure.
We do team dinners at like different players' houses before every match, which is a lot of fun for bonding and stuff. So it's one of my favorite.
My favorite memory was definitely, so Olivia broke her back earlier in this year, and so she missed the first couple of matches. And then my favorite memory is the first day she came back and we got to play again as doubles partners, and we totally crushed the first 2 matches, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, my favorite memory was just also like all the community and like just how much we all like each other. It was a really fun team this year.
Do you have any more questions? All right. Well, thank you. Then if we can get the Bozeman Hawk tennis kids back up here and coach, that would be great. Then are there any other board trustees' comments?
All right, before I read the award, I also just want to say, now that I have all of you up here, thank you to the coaches. And one thing that was very obvious is just the team camaraderie and the really positive environment, not just when they're out there playing, but a lot of the favorite memories were things that weren't even during a match. And so thank you for your dedication to all these student athletes. And to the student athletes, thank you for all you do. And I am very honored to present this award. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution, whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High tennis teams competed in the AA State Tennis Tournament in Bozeman, May 22nd through the 23rd, 2025, and whereas the Gallatin High girls team finished as state champions with team members Jesse Anderson, Mackenzie Campos, Avery Childra, Jane Edwards, Kalia Herrera, Alex Mansour, Olivia Mansour, Alex Ramsey, Helen Rafe, Moira Ross, Hannah Ruprecht, Sophie Stark, Megan Sullivan, Kennedy Varda, and Raina Wilson. And whereas the following athletes were AA state champions: Gallatin High, Mason McCarty, boys singles; Bozeman High, Isabella Barr and Sarah Sanford, girls doubles. Whereas the following athletes earned all-state honors: Isabel Barr, first girls doubles; Colin Gross, third place, boys doubles; Miranda Eisenberg, fourth place, girls singles; Harrison Roeder, second place, boys singles; Sarah Sanford, first girls doubles; Oliver Ward, third place, boys doubles; Gallatin High, Avery Childress, fifth place, girls singles; Dean Gunderson, fifth place, boys doubles; Mason McCarty, first place, boys singles; Alex Mansour, second place, girls doubles; Olivia Mansour, second place, girls doubles; Dylan Rosenzweig, fifth place, boys doubles; Raina Wilson, second place, girls singles. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor individual state champions Mason McCarty, Isabel Barr, and Sarah Sanford, Gallatin High's 2025 Girls Tennis State Championship team, and all state individuals from Bozeman High and Gallatin High.
Second.
Motion made by trustee D and seconded by trustee Sandy Wilson. Any public comment? All those in favor? Remember to meet Lauren D outside, so congratulations, great job. Mr. Ader, thanks for coming back. So this is for 2025 track and field state championship team, individual state champions, and all state.
It was, as you can tell, it was a great spring for athletics for Bozeman High and Gallatin High. At this time, I'll have Coach Blaine Peterson come up and introduce the Bozeman High athletes and any staff members, and then I'll have Chantel Yeager-Smith come up and introduce her state qualifying athletes, staff members, and her state championship team.
Thank you.
Sit in the chair.
Yeah.
I just want to take a minute to thank the board and all the support that we have from the administration and the community. It wouldn't be possible without the help that we all have behind the scenes, so thank you guys. Chat a little bit about our all-state athletes here. To begin with, Morgan Jones is not here tonight. She was selected for the Midland Roundtable All-Star Volleyball tournament over in Billings, so she's over there practicing for that all week. But Morgan this season placed first or second in every single event, every single meet that she jumped in this year, ending with the second place finish at state. Has herself in the top 10 in school history with a jump of 5'4". So Morgan had a great senior year. She's our only senior out of our all-state selections. Scotland Jones, sitting right next to me, placed in both the 100 and the 200 meters. She's only the third Bozeman High girl to do that in like 18 years. So she had an incredible state meet, getting fifth in the 100 and fourth in the 200. She competed in 5 events at state. She had qualified in the long jump as well, and then ran on both our short and long relay. Kylie Neal. I hate to group these two together, but they've kind of been together their whole lives. And when I start looking at their numbers and stuff from the season, they had a very similar season that kind of mirrored each other. And their development through their high school careers is already mirroring each other as well. Taylor and Kylie are both sophomores on our team this year. Each of them led the way in their respective distance groups on the boys and the girls side. They each qualified in all three of the distance races, the 800, 1600, 3200. They raced in the 1600 and the 3200 at state. They did not do the 800, and they each placed in both of them, with Kylie getting 6th in the 1600 and 3rd in the 3200. And Taylor was 4th in the 1600 and 3rd in the 3200. They are both representing themselves very well in their red and black uniforms. They're both top 10 in school history as sophomores already in each of their respective 3 distance races. They were also both constant presences on our long relay teams this year as well. So these guys had an incredible season. A lot of hard work has been put in by these athletes up here. Very appreciative of it.
Well, congratulations, Coach Peterson. Thanks for everything that you're doing. Congratulations to the athletes. Great job this year. Greg, you have a few questions?
Thanks, Coach Peterson, for everything you've done. Really appreciate it. I have a lot of questions for the three of you. I don't. Scotland, how long you been doing track?
Since 6th grade.
Yeah, and I know you have big goals for yourself next year, going into your senior year after a very
Yeah.
accomplished junior year.
Yeah. Well, I want to do track in college. My entire family did track at MSU, so it's kind of a legacy thing. And if I don't do track in college, that's going to be kind of awkward. So we'll see, but that's the plan, to run at MSU in a couple of years. Yeah.
You do come from a long line of athletes, aunts, uncles, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Lots of MSU Bobcat tracksters.
Yeah.
Arlington, Montana. A lot of roots. So
Yeah.
it was great watching you develop the last couple of years. You've come a long way. You're getting faster. You're incredibly strong. It's a blast to watch you compete.
Thank you.
Kylie and Taylor, I won't say much because I'll hear it later.
Yeah.
You know that I'm proud of both of you. I told Nathan that last year. And so thank you very much for everything. Blaine? And I think Chair Black's going to
Yeah.
maybe have you all.
Yeah, if you guys
Not
want to,
going
we'll get the Gallatin kids and coaches up here first, and then we'll do the reading after that, so you guys can come back. Thank you.
Hi. Hi. How's it going? Good. Okay.
Bring him in tight, Coach Chantel. Not yourself, your athletes.
Oh. No hiding pillars. Okay.
Yeah, the column still exists, so if you're behind one,
There's a lot of people up here. First off, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. It's amazing that a school board recognizes what is so great for these athletes, and it means a lot to them. It means a lot to us, and just know this is not everybody. I don't have to tell you all the spring/end of the school year is a very busy time, and so there are some athletes that really wanted to be here and had conflicts. Some are going to MSU next year. There's orientation tonight. We have track practice tonight for Bozeman Track Club, so some I think are there. And just other end of the year travel and things like that prevented some from being here. So they wanted me to tell you guys that they wish they could have made it. So I think I'll start with just introducing them very briefly, and then I'll kind of speak as us as a whole because we're a team here. We've got Alec Naring on the end. He's our new shot put coach this year. And I think a lot of you guys know the man hiding behind the pillar, but that's Coach Kennedy. He was my coach all through college, and I roped him into coaching after retirement. And he's been a great role model for all of us here. We've got Ren Fritsch. She's a senior. She was a part of our 4x1 relay and took 3rd in the long jump individually. We've got Kate Brading, a sophomore, and she placed, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I don't remember, 2nd in shot put and 5th in javelin. We got Ava Deerolf, a senior. She placed 4th in the javelin. Next, we've got Kate Lindsay, our sole freshman state qualifier. She placed 4th in the high jump. Allie Coey, she's a senior and she she participated in the 2-mile. Dan Jackson, our distance coach, he's been here since the beginning, coaching our distance gals and guys. Next to me, I've got Isabella Donaghy. She placed 3rd in the 100 meters and the 200 meters and was a part of both podium relay teams. Then I've got Riley McGrath. He's a sophomore. He is our state champion in the boys shot put, and then also tied for 2nd in discus with his teammate Jack Murray, who I spoke about last year. He couldn't make it tonight, but I'm sure you guys remember he was state champ in discus last year, had a very phenomenal season. So next to him, Reed Bartholomew. He's been running for a really long time and has put in so much work in the mid-distance events and placed 5th in the 400 meters, right? Yeah, in the 8. They had this wrong good here. In the 800 meters, excuse me. Okay, next is Hazel Cooper. She placed 2nd in both the 800 and the 600 meter run behind teammate Isabel Ross, who is our state champion in those, and was also a part of our 4x400 meter relay. And last but not least, Finley Samuels. She was an integral part of our 4x4 relay and our mid-distance squad all throughout state and competed in the 400 at state in the 800. So many more that could not make it tonight, but I'll just speak briefly on behalf of the group behind me. And we had the privilege of watching some truly remarkable young people rise to the highest levels of competition in our state. As you guys know, earning all state honors is no small feat, and so I don't want that to ever be disregarded. They reach high and they really achieve it, and what I really enjoyed about this season is a lot of them are not just running for themselves. And so there was plenty of family members or people who could not be with us this season that we dedicated this season to, and it was just really remarkable how much grit, Gallatin grit, these guys showed. And it was a season to go down in history. These girls, especially some of these seniors with me, have been putting in work all 4 years, and it's really paid off. And something I realized sitting here is all of our senior girls that are moving on are all participating in collegiate athletics. All but one are participating in collegiate track and field. And the one that is not is Emma Hardman. If you're not familiar who she is, she placed 1st as a team in state in volleyball, basketball, and track. And she went out for track her senior year and was a phenomenal javelin thrower, so the athleticism transferred through. So she's looking to play basketball at MSU. So incredibly proud of these girls. And I know the boys were reigning state champs. We graduated a lot, but they still showed great perseverance, and I just couldn't be prouder of all of them. And I lastly just need to thank the coaches and the parents and the community, Mark, all of the support I've had. I could not have done it without them. And the job's really hard sometimes, and these coaches just keep my head held up high when it gets really tough. So thank you.
Well, congratulations, Coach Jager Smith. Another exciting season, this time for the girls. So congratulations, good job, and continue to create a culture and a community over there. So that's exciting. Congratulations to the athletes. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Chantel, for everything that you do for the kids. How many seniors do we have in attendance tonight? Do we have any? Allie? Could those of you that are seniors tell us, I know your coach just touched on it, but tell us what you're doing next year? At University of Wisconsin?
No, I'm going to be continuing track at the University of Nevada. I'm going to go to MSU Billings for cross country and track, and maybe even.
I know that many of you are there more seniors? I'm sorry. Yeah, I know many of you are regular attendees for things that we're honoring you for here at our meetings. Can some of you just give us an idea of other activities you're involved in with your school besides track and field or sports?
Yeah, Brennan and I are both in the
Me and Hazel will play soccer for Gallatin as well.
Great. Well, it was a blast watching you all excel at the state meet this year. It was your weekend, and it was amazing to watch you all accomplish so much after all the work you put in all year. Hazel, you and Izzy were phenomenal going 1 and 2 in your races. I'm a distance fan, so that was really fun for me to watch. I think you might be doing the wrong sport in the fall, but who am I to give such an opinion? Hazel? But I think Coach K agrees. But congratulations to all of you. It was well earned. And it's my honor to support the recommendation. Actually, could we bring the Bozeman kids back up to read the honor, please?
Great. Are there any other, as the Bozeman group comes back up, are there any other comments for trustees? All right, you're clear.
It's my honor to support the recommendation that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution, whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High track and field teams competed in the AA State Track Meet in Kalispell, May 22nd to 24th, 2025. Whereas the Gallatin High girls track team finished as state champions with team members Anita Black, Kate Breeding, Allie Coey, Hazel Cooper, Ava Dieradorf, Isabella Donahue, Dylan Free, Zoe Fritz, Emma Hardman, Lila Caro, Kate Lindsay, Lila Pritham, Isabel Ross, Claire Rutherford, Finley Samuels, Lauren Weaver, and whereas the following Gallatin High athletes were AA individual state champions: Riley McGrath, shot put, Isabel Ross, 800 meters and 1600 meters. And whereas the following athletes earned all-state individuals by placing in the top 6: Bozeman High, Morgan Jones, 2nd place. High jump, Scotland Jones, 5th place, 100 meters, 4th, 200 meters. Kylie Neal, 6th, 1600 meters, 3rd, 3200 meters. Taylor Neal, 4th, 1600 meters, 3rd, 3200 meters. Gallatin High, Reed Bartholomew, 5th, 400 meters. Anita Black, 4th, 100 meter hurdles. Kate Breeding, 2nd shot put, 5th javelin. Hazel Cooper, 2nd 800 meters, 2nd 1600 meters, 2nd 4x400 relay. Carter Dalkey, 4th 4x100 relay. Reese Dalkey, 4th 4x100 relay. Ava Deerolf, 4th javelin. Isabella Donahue, 3rd 100 meters, 3rd 200 meters, 6th 4x100 meters, 2nd 4x400 relay. Dylan Free, 6th 4x100 relay. Zoe Fritz, 6th 4x100 relay. Louis Camps, 4th 200 meters, 4th 4x100 relay. Sam Kilween, 4th 4x100 relay, 3rd long jump. Kate Lindsay, 6th, 4th by 100, 4x100 relay, 4th high jump. Riley McGrath, 1st shot put, 2nd discus. Jack Murray, 2nd discus. Isabel Ross, 1st 800 meters, 1st 1600 meters, 3rd 400 meters, 2nd 4x400 relay. Claire Rutherford, 5th 1600 meters, 2nd 3200 meters. Finley Samuels, 2nd 4x400 relay. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Gallatin High individual state champions Riley McGrath and Isabel Ross, Gallatin High's 2025 Girls Track and Field State Championship team, and the all-state individuals from Bozeman High and Gallatin High.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Neal and seconded by trustee Marlan. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Also, just to note, we'll make the correction on the, let's see, for Reed Bartholomew regarding the 5th in the 800 instead of 400, I think. So we'll make that correction as well in the minutes. So, but congratulations. And if you'll meet trustee Neal out by the lockers, that would be great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Mr. Ader, you're back for the 2024-25 Montana Coaches Association AA Coaches of the Year. And if the coaches could come up as well.
Chantel, if you want to take a picture real quick, you can. With your team, yes. All right, first of all, I want to thank the board for honoring Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year awards are given out by the Montana Coaches Association. Requirement is usually you have to be a member and your team has to place at the state events. So we're lucky here. All our coaches are state champions this year, and that tells you, the key to our success in athletics is our coaches behind us here. They do a tremendous job. They make my job easy. So Erica Cannon for girls soccer. Erica couldn't be here tonight. Erica is coaching soccer tonight, coaching youth soccer. She does it year-round, all the time, all age groups, boys and girls. Bozeman High won their won the title 2 years in a row. Erica's won the title many times. I think Erica is the standard for soccer coaches. She's great to work with. Siobhan Gilmartin, Bozeman High, swim. Bozeman High has placed at state a few times, boys and girls, and Siobhan's been the coach of each of those, and she's also the coach of Gallatin High, and Gallatin High swim had a great year this year, placing at state. Casey Dermine, boys cross country, placed at state. Casey's teams have placed at one state multiple times. Our teams are going to continue to be good in the distance because of Casey's work. Gallatin High, Matt Clark, girls golf, led the girls to a state title this year. He led Gallatin High boys to the state title a few years ago, and I believe that was his first state team title for Gallatin High. He also led Bozeman High to a couple of titles. Taylor Cummings, second-year basketball coach, first-time recipient of the Coach of the Year award and state champion Gallatin High girls basketball. Coulter Curry led the boys to a state title 2 years ago, and then this year, Coulter led the girls tennis team to a state title. Coulter was also instrumental the last 2 years in helping me with the state tournament that we hosted, that we were lucky enough to host 2 years in a row. Graydon Curry, girls cross country. I don't know if Graydon made it tonight. He didn't make it. Gallatin won for the first time this year. We obviously, some of those athletes that were Gallatin High track athletes did very well for the cross country team this year. Erica Gustafson, girls volleyball. I believe last time Bozeman High won state volleyball, Erica was the coach and coach of the year then for that and girls basketball. And Chantel Yeager-Smith, who maybe is sneaking back in. She led the boys to 2 state titles, and then this year led the girls to a state title. So each of these coaches will be honored at the Montana Coaches Association Clinic convention in Great Falls on, I think it's July 31st at noon. And they're honored along with coaches from the other classifications and other special award winners. So there you go. You can go ahead and ask them some questions.
Thank you, Mark. And all the coaches, congratulations on your great seasons. It's probably all about the coaches and not much about the athletes that you have to deal with. It's what I usually hear, right? When you win, right? Or maybe I have that the opposite. When you, but I do know some of you specifically. Erica, thanks for making my daughter tougher at a younger age. And then Taylor.
Just I helped a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Paybacks. Taylor also, I know from my experience as my daughter was a sophomore, I'm pretty sure that was it. Waking up early in the morning and going and helping her out, so appreciate that. So I know, and I just reflect on those few things because I know the dedication that many of you have, and that's why you're here, is because you're dedicated to the students. You're creating a culture of success and a standard and having expectations, holding kids accountable to what you're hoping for. And then probably also managing a parent or two every once in a while. So appreciate all your efforts. Are there any other comments? Lauren?
I just want to say thank you again, and I know I said it to the few coaches earlier. But each of you care about our kids a ton, and it is very obvious when you come up and present. You're often teary or emotional about it, and that effort that you put into our kids on and off their fields or courts or golf course, it's all recognized. And as a parent and a board member, I just want you to know we really appreciate all you do, because we know it's a lot more hours than just that practice time or whatever else. And we know that it's all heart also. So thank you very much.
Sarah?
Just want to
Sarah.
share a full circle moment with Chantel. So I first met Chantel in 2013 when she was a sophomore in college and a pre-service teacher. And just to watch her be a student athlete at MSU and then go on to coach at championships, both at BHS and GHS. And in addition to the work you do in the district, the work you do with Bozeman Track Club. And thank you for taking on the 6th grade gaggle and teaching them sprints, because not everybody would want to do that, Chantel. And you do it with so much grace, and it's appreciated. Thanks.
Greg?
Yeah, Coach of the Year, you're a group of amazing human beings. I know that you all put all the heart and soul into your programs, and I've had a front row seat to Coach Casey's for 5 years. He's had all my kids at this point, and that's a lot of kids. And I agree with Kevin. I appreciate you come into our board meetings after your teams and your kids have accomplishments every year and presenting them to us. And about 80% of the time, especially with Coach Clark, it gets a little bit emotional. And so just thank you to all of you for what you do. I consider it a volunteer position. The stipend is that much. It may as well not be a stipend. So for everything that your heart and soul and everything you do for our kids, appreciate it. So thank you.
All right. I guess do you guys have any comments or? Well, she's going to do the reading and ask questions for you. So if you guys have any comments, I'll give you the floor right now. All right. Liana?
Yeah, just to reiterate some of what everybody has already said, I'm like blown away at the talent, the time, the dedication, everything that you put towards the kids in our community. So I have 2 questions, and one is, besides this job of coaching, which, as Greg pointed out, it's hours, it's not really for the stipend, but you all have full-time lives otherwise. So what else are you doing in the district? Like what are you teaching or doing in the district besides coaching state champions?
Outside of coaching track, I help in the fall with Gallatin High Cross Country, and I volunteer throughout the year with the Bozeman Track Club. There's a lot of not only Gallatin High kids, but kids from all around the valley, if not even farther, participate in throughout the year.
Amazing.
And I'm a teacher at Gallatin High. I teach art classes like ceramics and graphic design.
I teach health enhancement at Gallatin High. I coach football in addition to golf. I coached middle school basketball the last couple of years at Sacagawea.
I work as a project manager full-time, and so coaching is my passion, so I'm very grateful for the opportunity to coach at Gallatin. It takes up quite a bit of my free time, and I'm hoping to continue to get more young youth girls into camps to grow basketball in Bozeman, because it has been slowly declining, so that's one of my future goals.
I'm a full-time coach and a part-time shoe salesman. So I own Bozeman Running Company downtown, and then put on some events. And yeah.
Put on some events.
I am also a health enhancement teacher at Gallatin High with Mr. Clark over here. And I have 2 small kids, so I am busy with them starting to get into sports now. And kind of like you guys echoed, coaching's a year-round thing. You know, I would love to say it's the 3 months of the season, but we wouldn't be standing here if it was only 3 months of the season. Put in a lot of time outside of our seasons to build our programs, and so yeah, that's kind of takes up all of our time, I would say.
I'm Siobhan Gilmuffin. I teach at Gallatin High social studies. In addition to coaching swimming at those schools, I'm pretty involved in the club program for swimming. Here, me and Vera
whole coaching community, both schools. And I think that I just want to say this is the first year that I've been the coach of the year that the school board has invited us to be recognized for that. And I think that is really special and means a lot to me, at least, to be recognized for that.
Well, we're incredibly grateful for all your talent and time. It's no small thing, and I totally recognize that. So I do have one other question. You don't have to all answer, or I think it's kind of underneath the surface there, but what is your why for, I mean, you have full-time lives and you're coaching and have done incredible things with the kids in our community. So if anybody wants to share about why you do it, love to hear it.
I think, like, for me, I'll say that my kids are getting older and watching, but they've grown up at the swim center, and my kids have gotten more involved in swimming. I think I've just been struck this last year watching all my high schoolers supporting the children as they're growing up, and it's so cliche and cheesy, but it does feel like a family that we don't have family in Bozeman area, and so to watch like those high schoolers kind of like wrap them up and be the ones behind their blocks and cheering for them, and their families and their parents loving on my kids, and I get to love on their kids during our season. I think it makes me feel like you're a part of something way bigger.
I think it's the relationships with the kids. I mean, I can say that's what definitely keeps me in it. Kind of the full circle moments when you see them graduate and then you start attending their weddings and they're having kids, and you're still following and you still see them, and, you know, Coach Gus, and you get to have that relationship still, is definitely why I'm still in it. I also really, really value what kids learn from sports. I think they learn so much outside of the classroom participating in sports that really set them up to be successful later in life. So I still really believe in what we're teaching in the community that we're building.
Yeah, and I get asked that a lot, like, what's my why? And I think for me, it's from a sport that I got so much out of. You know, I ran in high school, I ran in college, you know, got a sales rep job with a shoe company. It kind of really formed my life. And so I felt like when I got into coaching, it was my time to give back and hopefully maybe instill that in someone else and give them that opportunity.
Yeah, I can piggyback off a lot of that. That's I feel like I had a lot of really influential coaches and females who participate in sports, build really strong relationships and confidence through sports. And like I said, I work full-time as a project management. I was raised by educators, and it's a way for me to still be able to give back to the next generation and build those relationships like Coach Gus was talking about, and that sense of community for young women. So I really, I love doing that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a second or third career for me. I did a few other things before I got into education. I was actually in business most recently, and just wasn't feeling like I was getting any reward out of doing that. And so I actually went back to school and got my master's of arts in teaching. And my dad was a professor at the University of Montana, and I saw the reward and the joy that he had doing what he did. And I just want to try and give back and be a positive influence on kids.
Yeah, I would also say relationships are the most important part for me. I mean, getting to walk away after a player has played for 4 years and still be friends with them and get to see them grow. And that's what I would say is the other best thing, is just getting to work with and develop these students through 4 or 5 or 6 years, starting in middle school or earlier, and really see them develop not only as a really good player, but as a person, and develop all around.
It's hard to go after all of those. But my why would be kind of similar to what was said, but I did a lot of activities when I was in high school, and track was where I found where I belonged. And so that's what it taught me in high school and in college, to find the appreciation for the sport. It's a very diverse sport. Like, if you looked at the kids that lined up behind me, you've got Riley McGrath, then you have tiny little distance runners like Finley. And so it embraces a diverse group of kids that can all come together and show their strengths in different ways. But on top of that, I had phenomenal coaches growing up, and some of them I dragged along with me, as I said. But they've taught me so much, and it was in a sense a way, when my career was done, how can I keep giving back to the sport and fulfilling where I belong? So.
Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for everything that you do. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Montana Coaches Association exists to raise the quality and competence of athletic coaching and administration to the highest level possible through leadership development, educational programs, training sessions, and informative publications. And whereas the Montana Coaches Association strives to recognize those professional men and women who have devoted their energies over many years to bring excellence to athletic programs in Montana schools. And whereas the following Bozeman School District coaches were selected by the Montana Coaches Association as the 2024-2025 Coaches of the Year by leading their teams to state championships. Bozeman High, Erica Cannon, girls soccer; Siobhan Gilmartin, boys swim; Casey Germain, boys cross country; Gallatin High, Matt Clark, girls golf; Taylor Cummins, girls basketball; Coulter Curry, girls tennis; Graydon Curry, girls cross country; Erica Gustafson, girls volleyball; and Chantel Yeager-Smith, girls track and field. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Erica Cannon, Matt Clark, Taylor Cummins, Coulter Curry, Graydon Curry, Siobhan Gilmartin, Erica Gustafson, Chantel Yeager-Smith, and Casey Germain for their accomplishments.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Bertelson, seconded by trustee Neal. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Well, congratulations to you guys. That's awesome. I would say, Taylor, I appreciate what your comment was regarding and getting younger kids involved. I think I hear a lot of different things about all the sports at the high school level, and it doesn't really start at the high school level. It's the opportunities for the younger kids, getting them interested, engaged, doesn't matter what sport. So I think that's pretty critical, and hopefully that's something that you can do with many of the coaches throughout our district, not just certain pockets. So I think ultimately it does benefit. I think this weekend, as an example, I was at graduation, and I knew more Gallatin kids based on me coaching some kids along the way than I did at Bozeman High. So I think that's really important, and to do that part of it as a community still at the younger ages, regardless of what school they're going to end up at. So congratulations. I'm going to change this piece up, because you guys are all here. There's not very many people out there. You guys can come up. We'll have a picture up here and give you the award up here. So thank you. The short one needs to go around short.
Stand like this. The short person. This little person.
We go this way?
Sit down. Anyone else in with? I know. Here, I'm like short people. Like really tall.
It's like class photos. Oh.
It is like class photos.
You can kick it outside. Okay, everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. On to action items for consent. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve consent items 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Neal, seconded by trustee Sandy Wilson. Any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0.
Motion to approve consent agenda item 3.5.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Neal, seconded by trustee Bertelson. Any public comment? All right, all those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. All right, action items singular. 4.1.1, Casey, Mike? you presenting this one?
Go ahead.
All right, good evening, trustees. Agenda item 4.1.1 is a territory transfer request, essentially a redrawing of the school district boundaries. Under Montana law, territory transfers are allowed if the property can proposed to be transferred is contiguous to the new district, and in fact, this one it's within the Belgrade School District currently, but it's on the line of the Belgrade and Bozeman School District. The property has to have school-aged kids, and again, we've checked that box, and the property has to be at least 3 miles from a school currently, and the properties are indeed more than 3 miles from the school. There's some unique aspects to this request. In the past, these territory transfers have been relatively procedural. They don't happen that often, but from time to time they do. The things that have changed, I think, or make this one, this particular request unique is, first of all, open enrollment has now been made law within the state of Montana. So now students can attend school in any district they wish, regardless of residence. So we haven't seen any requests for territory transfers since that open enrollment became law. This request is for extracurriculars only. So the students, the school-age kids who live within the territory proposed to be transferred don't intend to attend school within our district. They wish to participate within the extracurriculars only. MHSA rules specifically say that you can only participate in activities in the district where you reside. So even if they were to come to our district for open enrollment, they wouldn't be able to participate in our extracurriculars because they don't reside in that district. Process is laid out pretty clearly in law. The proposal has to come to both the transferring and receiving school districts. We're considering this issue here in Bozeman tonight. It's my understanding the Belgrade School District is also considering this from their end tonight as well. If both districts approve the request, it's again pretty procedural. The county goes through and makes the changes to the tax rolls, and we move forward. However, if either district, the receiving district or the transferring district, denies the request, it goes immediately to a hearing process with the county superintendent. They've got 40 days after the receipt of the petition to call for that hearing. And then there's a list of things they must consider. But at the end of the day, the law states that if the transfer of the territory is not in the best and collective interest of students in the receiving and transferring districts and will negatively impact the ability of the districts to serve those students, the county superintendent shall deny the territory transfer. This issue is, again, before the board. My understanding is Belgrade is recommending denial of this request for their own reasons. Administration's discussed this request here internally, and it's our recommendation to deny this request as well because of the chance that it will displace students who currently attend our schools from participating in extracurricular activities, and therefore may not be in the best and collective interest of students receiving transferring districts and could negatively impact the ability of our district to serve those students. Board certainly has discretion over direction to proceed with this. It's my understanding that one of the petitioners for the request is in the audience. I'll let her come on up and speak into the microphone, either as public comment or if you have questions for her. Administration stands ready for questions as well.
Would you like to come up? You're more than welcome to. And then I know you'll give it to us anyways, but on the clipboard right there, if you can just write your name and then your email address
Okay.
at some point in time, that'd be helpful. And
I can do that, yeah.
We'll give you the opportunity to speak a little bit here to begin with.
Okay, I'm Heidi McFarland. I'm one of the petitioners. I have 4 kids. We have one that did participate in sports in Belgrade, but it was quite a hardship for us to get all the way over there. We go to Petra. I'd like to say that like 3 of your participants here for tennis and, well, it's all tennis, were our Petra students as well. So, you know, there's a positive reason for having kids come into the Bozeman district. So, but if you guys have any questions for me.
Okay. I don't think we have questions at this point in time. Probably any trustees' comments or questions, I guess, either for the applicant or for staff. And then if not, I'd entertain a motion. Sandy?
I move we accept the superintendent's recommendation for action item 4.1.1.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Sandy Wilson, seconded by trustee Bertelson. Any public comment?
I mean, my only comment is that, you know, I live and work in Bozeman. I'm part of the community here. We're right on the edge. Like, it is such a hardship for us to get all the way to Belgrade. That's part of the reason we don't go to the Belgrade school. It just takes that much longer to get over there. We are looking for extracurriculars, including all sports, not just necessarily cut sports. Choir, we have a ballerina in our house, we have a soccer player, we have volleyball players, we have all kinds of sports. So, and we're just wanting to come into the district. We're not necessarily saying Gallatin versus Bozeman. We just want to participate in the Bozeman sports, so.
So we have a motion. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0, 6-0, right? Or is it all, it's the whole district? So
It would be both districts.
Okay.
We wouldn't want to divide up the elementary and high school to go to
So
one
motion,
or the other.
so motion passes 7-0. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next board discussion, 5.3.
Thank you, Chair Black. Mr. Van Buren, if you want to drive that, we'll just use that document to walk through, and you can scroll to the where the red writing starts. Thank you. Okay, before you this evening, you have a discussion item of the 24-25 long-range strategic plan. It's sort of a looking back at the school year in terms of the progress towards goals. This document, when it's final, has multiple pieces. One is progress towards district goals that we'll discuss in detail this evening. It also has school site action plans that are being completed right now by our building principals. We're having year-end conversations about those. During the year, those documents have a lot of individual student data in them, and then we clean that up for FERPA reasons, and so those will be cleaned up and ready for approval in July. And then also in this document, you have documentation of all the school board brunches and luncheons, including the data sheets and the presentations that were given at each of our 13 school sites. So talking about progress towards measurable goals, a reminder that I see the long-range strategic plan as my primary job description and ensuring that we are moving towards those goals. And we have some exciting things to share. First of all, grade level reading. We have a goal by 2029 that 90% of our third graders would be reading at grade level. We've been in a sort of 3-year flat line as we were seeing significant increases in multilingual English learners. What we saw this spring is the highest reading data we've seen since we started the Acadians assessment, and corresponding the highest level of multilingual English learners in the district. So it's a 6.76 increase from the prior year. To me, this is one that we were jumping up and down, and really proud of the work being done across our district. We are not only buffering the influx of students who don't have English as their primary language, but we're closing those achievement gaps. We're closing them for English language learners, for students from poverty, and for students with disabilities, which is kind of why we're here. And very much aligned to our core purpose. So very excited about that data. You'll notice in that chart that we don't have middle school data represented. As you know, we moved away from the STAR assessment as we took on a new state assessment. The new state assessment will be proficiency benchmarked this spring and summer, and then we'll get those scores in the fall. That new MAST assessment serves grades 3 through 8. Also notice, I did put in there our ELA proficiency at the high school, which is another jumping up and down moment for us. It's the highest ELA ACT score ever in the Bozeman School District since the ACT came on board as a state test in 2015, 2016. We heard a lot of mixed comments around changes at the high school in terms of hawk time and prime time and collaboration time for teachers and block schedules and all of those things. We fully expected an implementation dip, and we saw the highest scores ever in our district, which is exciting. If you scroll to that, that's a visual of those third grade reading scores. The red line is multilingual English learners. So despite moving from 7.3% to 9.11% of English language learners in third grade, those are one-to-one correspondence there, that's a third grade MLEL percentage. We moved up to 79% of our school sites proficient, which means that we have multiple schools at or above 85, 95, some very high percentages in some of our schools. That second graph, also equally exciting. This is that same third grade data showing that we saw increases from the prior year for IEP students, multilingual English learner students, and free and reduced lunch students, which means we are closing achievement gaps. There's a little bit of a looking forward. We haven't achieved our goal. We're not at 90%, and we also know that part of doing this work is really doing equity work across the district. And so we're going to be adding some supports via literacy language coach focused at Highlight and Whittier, who have dynamic student populations. We're also rolling out, we've done a lot of work on the science of reading, more on the word recognition, decoding, and phonemic awareness side of the reading rope, and we're now spending some time on the language side of the equation, and we'll be rolling out a new language screener and intervention tool in every kindergarten classroom across the district. And then we're rolling out, upon the recommendation of our literacy consultants, sort of a differentiated core at Highlight and Whittier, specific to foundational skills in phonics. And so we're excited that those three pieces of the puzzle are going to propel us even closer to our goals, and I can't wait for what this looks like a year from now. You can stop me at any time. If you want me to chunk this, or do you want me to keep going?
Any questions or comments? Doing a great job. Oh,
I'll just make a comment. This has been a consistent approach of our, via our LRSP through our superintendent identifying goals, while at the same time having consistently increasing English learners from year to year in our school district, and just the wanting to do the things the right way, and setting goals according to educating all kids, reducing achievement gaps, and surging forward regardless of what kids are in the building and what their profile is and where they come from and who they come from. Setting our graduation goals and our third grade reading goals and all of our goals according to educating kids. This is nothing new, and this is as far as that approach is concerned. And this data showing increased and continuing increasing results is worthy of jumping up and down and celebrating and calling the Chronicle. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy?
Casey, I wonder if you could just share with us what you think, in a nutshell, contributes to this continued growth and in literacy.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. It's a high quality professional development on the science of reading, and doing that for multiple years and building that into the culture. Then it's our braided MTSS and PLC systems, where first best instruction for all students, and then very targeted, focused, skill-based interventions. and teachers collaborating and embracing the vulnerability that comes with collaboration and moving from my kids to our kids. And then I think most recently, it's some honest conversations that leadership is the lid on some of this. And so some brave conversations and brave moves by our building leaders that are pushing some buildings from good to great. And then I think also for our team that the work is not done. So it's sort of a relentless pursuit that until that all really does mean all, and until we get there, we're going to keep churning on this, and we're going to keep finding resources and prioritizing resources. The final piece I would say is the willingness to this community walk through challenges on equity versus equality and all of those pieces, and we are putting resources where they're needed, and that's equity work in action.
Thank you.
Sarah?
I wonder if any of this growth was, like, not a result of, but the summer literacy program that was offered last summer for early elementary grades
Yeah,
might have contributed, do you think?
certainly. We saw data for our, the biggest impacts were with our youngest learners. So, the incoming first graders, we do know that, extended school year opportunities, 120 hours is not bad for anyone. And so, yeah, we did have 200 plus students. It's a factor in this third grade data. Yep. Okay, I'll keep rolling. Graduation goal, we saw a decrease in the 4-year cohort graduation rate. When we dove into that, a few factors there. One, there was an increase in dropouts from prior year. We also saw a pretty significant increase of students who are staying with us beyond 4 years. So students who had to wrap up credits in a 5th year and or changes in state law that allows us to keep special education students up to the age of 21. The graduation rate is from 23-24, and so then you go back 4 years. So I think the important piece with graduation is none of the changes that have happened at the high school for 24-25 are reflected in this number. And you won't see the full result of those changes until 27-28. That would be the first cohort that had 4 years of the changes at the high school. So it's something that we're looking at closely. We're also, as you've toured our schools and heard from our high school administrative team, students who arrive as newcomers, multilingual English learners at the high school level, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, is a challenge in terms of getting them the skills they need to be successful and ready for graduation. And so we are, this graduation goal has been a bit nebulous for our elementary schools and our middle schools. It's a high school goal. So we are in the future iteration of the LRSP, we'll be tying multilingual English learner supports K-12 or pre-K-12 to this goal to try to help that cohort increase their graduation rate. The graph there is Bozeman versus the state of Montana graduation rate. Our current 23-24 rate is very similar to the state of Montana. We've been above the state rate for a while, and so we'll continue to lean into that. You see in that next graph that we have some achievement gaps tied to graduation rate for students with IEPs, multilingual English learners, and free and reduced lunch students. Some of the IEP students is sort of an unfair metric because it's a 4-year cohort graduation rate, and those students, by design, we keep beyond their senior year, some of them until they're 21, and so I'm less concerned about that piece, and so as I mentioned, we're going to lean into the multilingual English learner pathway. Moving on, professional learning communities goal, we've adjusted that by spring of 2028. That was based upon the last revision we did with our community, moving that date to 2028 based on what we know the timeline is at the high school and the middle schools that just went through significant change process. We currently have 4 promising practices schools, or 4 model PLC schools, 1 promising practice school. So 5 of our 8 elementaries are meeting this criteria. They're the only 5 schools in the state of Montana that meet that criteria. We, as I mentioned earlier, we're focusing resources at Whittier and Highlight. And then Morningstar is a bit of an asterisk. Morningstar is the highest performing elementary school often in the state of Montana. They have their data is well above 90% in most grade levels. And so to show 3 years of sustained increases is difficult when you're 90+% proficient. So Morningstar is working with Solution Tree on some other data metrics to help tell that story better. We have Sarah Hayes for an additional school year as PLC admin coach, and have really seen great benefits from that coaching model. Really helped move middle schools forward this year, and in particular spent a great deal of time at Highlight. If you were at the Highlight board luncheon, Principal Shavoyka talking about moving collaboration time to Fridays, being hip to hip with Sarah Hayes, having bold, vulnerable conversations. And I wish, we don't get into school site data, but I wish I could flash the Highlight winter to spring data, because it's pretty awesome to see what happens when leaders have bold conversations and teachers lean in. So that's exciting work. She'll continue to work with Whittier and Highlight at the elementary and our 2 middle schools, and then at both high schools next year. So she'll have a full plate of support. A few things that we're looking forward to. We took a pause on STAR assessments and to see how we would be able to use the MAST assessment. Unfortunately, it's less useful to guiding day-to-day classroom instruction than we thought it would be. And so we will be leaning back into some universal screener benchmark tools. We'll be adding AIMSweb Plus at the elementary and at the middle school for math, and at the middle school for reading, so that we'll have a benchmark screener tool in reading and math up through 8th grade.
Casey,
yes.
You got a question?
Okay.
Leanna?
Okay, so just to recap, you haven't found MAS to be helpful in the day-to-day, like, for data and helping with, like, PLCs. Is that that's part of what you're saying? It's not as useful as, okay.
Correct.
And then, so you're going back to some universal screeners. I guess my question is just like balancing how much testing, like how all of that fits in. Can you just give me like a landscape of how that is for teachers, how they're receiving that, and
yeah,
does that make sense?
Yes. I guess the MAST assessment is taking way more hours than we had anticipated, and it's required, and that is unfortunate. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
I think it's also important to add that our teachers are asking for a universal screener. They want to make sure that they're being able to measure and progress monitor their students effectively, and the MAS just didn't provide that for them, and so they're asking for it.
Okay, moving forward, as you know, we had a few placeholders in the LRSP. One of those was a non-instructional operations. So about a third, is it a third, Mr. Waterman, of our employees are non-instructional employees, so food service or custodians. And so we were looking for a goal to help engage them in the work of the district. What we learned through the staff well-being consensus and negotiations processes is that the staff well-being goal hits all of our staff and is hitting the right things. So we're not recommending that we move forward with a non-instructional operations goal and just lean into that staff well-being goal. Early literacy. This is another exciting one. What you see there is kindergarten scores, and you see the impact of a significant increase in multilingual English learners on proficiency in kindergarten, and so which makes sense. If you So we saw fewer kids coming in proficient than we had in previous years, but a significant increase in that kindergarten population, going from 4.77% to 11.45% multilingual English learners. The next graph is exciting work that we're doing with Bozeman Reads to help combat that. And so 100% of the students in those four-year-old programs at Morningstar were not proficient in reading. That's how they got into the program. That was the eligibility criteria. By the winter, over half of them proficient. By the end of the year, 66% of those kids proficient. High percentage of multilingual English learners, high percentage of special ed, high percentage of free and reduced lunch. The population closer mirrors Highlight and Whittier than it does Morningstar in terms of the demographics in that program. So it shows that early intervention works and works really well. We saw that with the summer program as well. The incoming kinders had the biggest gains during the summer program. Next year, we're adding capacity to 90 students, and then we'll take a look at incoming scores and see where we go from there. We're running out of space at Morningstar, so future Bozeman Reads Early Learning Center would likely land at another location, possibly Irving, as the next step for adding classrooms there. Staff well-being goal. We've done a lot of work around that, had multi-day consensus process. We have a measurable goal. We have associated action plan. That was the goal for the year, to get that completed, and then we'll incorporate that into the LRSP framework. So each site will be working towards staff well-being goal. You might have saw today also, we received a part of the process was Alyssa Pack, who's our wellness coordinator, wrote a grant, and we received that grant from Bozeman Health, so $20,000, which provides stipends for wellness champion at every site. To what we found is the one-size-fits-all wellness events aren't drawing the crowd that they used to when Bozeman was smaller and Bruce could send out an email and a couple hundred people show up to an event. Everyone's too busy, and it doesn't work like that anymore. So we're looking at creating smaller events at each site, tailoring it to the culture and needs at each building, which is exciting. What you saw, and this was sort of expected, we took the panorama survey in the fall, and then the DOCC and the staff well-being talked about when would we take it again, and we chose the month of April, when seems to be one of the hardest time periods of the year for educators. So by design, we put it there and we got the results we were expecting. It was hard in the fall, it was harder in the spring, and that's good data for us moving forward. That's sort of our baseline data on the staff well-being goal. Keep going, Mike. We'll go to student well-being, wrap this up. Student well-being, by 2025, district will establish a system that measures response to barriers that limit student engagement. We brought together consensus group, stakeholders that built a measurable goal, associated action plan, really tied to student mental health, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes on building out that goal. I'll be excited to share more when I come back in July about the detailed action plan we have in that area. As I mentioned, part 2 is school site action plans. Those will all be, when you see this document again, those will all be live links and populated. And then section 3 is those board luncheons, those and data sheets, those are all presented. Those are all live links currently. So it's a discussion item tonight. Take any feedback on this as a whole, and then it will come back as an action item in July, as well as the looking forward pieces, which is the 5-year plan and the LRSP implementation framework for the next school year.
Well, thank you, Casey. Trustees, any comments or other questions? Sandy?
Well, I really appreciate all the work that's gone into this. A lot of dots have been connected, and really great information in here, and hopeful information that we're all on the right track. also I look at the collaboration that's just involved in putting all of this together, which is the big dot in our district, one of the big dots in our district. So I really appreciate that. And I was wondering about the doing site-specific kinds of wellness programs for other schools, and I'm glad to hear that they're thinking about doing that, because I had heard that at the consensus meeting as something that they thought would work better. So that was a really great idea. So I thank you for this. Yeah.
Bayana?
Yeah, thank you for everything with this. Sandy and I were talking about just, I don't know how other districts do it or what other superintendents do. This is the only thing that I've seen and that I know, but it is incredible the amount of just the interconnectedness of how this district runs. Like it's impressive, and I so appreciate everything that's going into it. I know that there's work to do, and I know you're on that, and I really have a lot of faith in how that is playing out. But this like, we're just getting the review, and every time I dig into something, I'm just to see how everything relates and points back to the LRSP. It's awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, Casey, I'd just add, thank you. I think this just reflects the collaboration that we have within our district, and a reflection of including not one person, but many to the work. But that also takes leadership as an individual. So I just appreciate everything that's going into this and all the people. So thank you to you and all of our staff and people trying to do their best with all the challenges that this creates. But it's well worth it at the end. So, all right. Any public comment? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to board discussion 5.4, which is high school baseball update. I think Casey, this is you. as
Yeah,
well.
thank you.
All right.
Chair Black. I think it was September. Trustees took a deep dive. We talked about implications for Title IX implications and other implications for adding high school baseball. At that time, put together an if-then pathway, and since that time we've been working on items, and our community's been working on items to make high school baseball hopefully a reality in 25-26. This is a discussion item tonight, no decisions by Board of Trustees. It also gives an opportunity to acknowledge some incredible fundraising that happened in the community in a short period of time. And so I'll walk you through some of these items and certainly stand for questions. If you recall, we had sort of this if-then pathway, and if was around addressing Title IX implications. Yeah, the one that says this. Yes, thanks, Mike. And then, yep, just make that bigger. Perfect. I can say we haven't 100% alleviated that there could be some Title IX claims or issues down the road, but we've done our due diligence with the tools that MHSA has given us to address some of the Title IX issues. So we conducted the student interest survey. Student interest survey came back and said there was a high percentage of students that wanted access to volleyball, boys and girls basketball, and baseball. Volleyball is the highest cut sport that we have, and so we are moving forward with adding and building into the budget freshman B volleyball teams at both high schools in direct response to the student interest survey. With that said, we're comfortable. We're probably not going to, if we add high school baseball hypothetically and look at all of the participation rates, we're probably not going to be under that 5% data variance between male and female participation. And it's important to note that part of that is just the large number of students who are in our high school football teams that skew that data. So when you have 100+ students at Gallatin High School in football, that is challenging to overcome that number. I did want to call out that this evening we honored a bunch of state champions. Gallatin High School had 6 state champions this year, all in female athletics. Every one of them, which was pretty exciting. So we'll continue to monitor the Title IX implications, but feel pretty good that we can move forward and check that box. Then you move to the logistical implications. One of those hurdles was startup costs. AA communities around the state have engaged community donors in that process. We had a very organized group, Bozeman Varsity Baseball Initiative. I see some of them in the audience that kind of led the way on the private fundraising. Had a recent fundraiser, and the ask was $100,000 for year one startup costs, and they've achieved that. I do want to pause if you guys want to come forward. I assume you're with baseball, yes? Yeah. Come on forward, tell us who you are, and we'll talk about this item for a moment. You can sit right there. If you turn on that the little people sign, the microphone will turn green.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Matthews.
John Thorne. And we're with, we got asked to be here for the baseball initiative. So
yeah,
any questions that you guys have for us would be great. We want to absolutely thank everybody for looking at this opportunity. The amount of fundraising and the support that we've got in the community has been absolutely unbelievable. I know that we asked for extra time to raise the money. We obviously didn't need it. So I think that there's a really big want in the community for baseball. So thank you for looking at it.
Certainly, and I'll let trustees respond, but I just want to thank you and your colleagues, which are our parents and our community members who came together to make this happen. And I don't think we have a check in the bank yet, but it's coming. Yeah.
We don't have the check. We emailed back and forth with Mike Waterman, and we can get the check anytime you need to. And then both of us represent each high school on the booster. I'm the treasurer of Gallatin High, and John Thorne's on the booster. You're not treasurer though, are you?
No.
Yeah, he's on the booster club for Bozeman High. And so each of the booster clubs donated. Gallatin High donated $10,000. We asked if Bozeman High could maybe beat us, and we were thinking they might do 10,001, and they did 15,000. So both high schools are very supportive of it, based on what we hear from our members too, and they're supportive of giving money towards the cause.
Well, I would just add, regarding, you guys had a great event. So a lot of people out there excited about baseball at Riverside. I was there for a short period of time, but had to go to practice. So, but thank you for. There's a great deal of passion, obviously, within that group, which is true about many sports, and also that's a reflection of our community as far as the speed goes of raising the funds, and then also just parents interested in what their kids are doing and what their interests are. So, and that's where a lot of these things start. So. Appreciate your time and effort in that, and look forward to getting a couple more boxes checked, I think is what I see on this list, but I think they're very doable, and I'm looking at this as I think it's a great opportunity, as it's been mentioned multiple times, for a lot of students, and then the biggest thing is, as we've seen a lot of these different things, is making sure that all the parties continue to agree to participate the way they originally, what the whole conversation was at the beginning. Hopefully in 5 years, it's the exact same conversation. It's for the kids. It's for, and it's not high school baseball. It's not Legion baseball versus anybody. It's everybody still 5-10 years ago. And even if there's people that disagree with things that happen, which definitely is going to happen, but I hope that's the case for years to come. So,
thanks,
Sandy.
I just was curious about what the long-term goal was for playing space. Like,
I'll touch on that. That's part
Never
of
mind.
this. Yep.
And, okay, thank you very much. And I'm really glad that we're really paying attention to that Title IX piece. I grew, when I was in high school, you were a cheerleader or in pep club, and you were a student athlete, right? And so I think it's really important to keep track of that, but understand the football piece of all of that, and as long as that's in the forefront, that's great.
Chair Black, if I think I will finish this, and then if trustees have questions for us or our audience, that would be great. Okay, some of the other things that we're working on behind the scenes is we need a long-term MOU with Legion. We've seen this already become challenging across the state, and simply from administrative perspective, we're not going to compete with the Legion program. So our seasons need to be separate. And so that we're not competing for coaches and players. So we sent an MOU to the executive chair of the Bozeman Bucks on Friday, that it's a non-compete MOU that once we come to agreement on that, that would come to this board for approval. To your
Hey,
question.
Casey?
Yep.
The Legion board, they're meeting tonight on that.
Okay.
It's their regular board meeting, so
Great.
we should know very shortly.
Okay. We are, and to your question, Trustee Sandy Wilson, on field space, we're convening two things going on with the field. We've received a preliminary MOU rental agreement on Heroes Park, where the Legion team plays by the fairgrounds. We are working through that, and we'll be making a counter proposal to them. We've met with the way that arrangement works is the county owns the facility, leases it to the American Legion Club. There is the ability to do a sublease to a third party. That has to be agreed upon by the Legion board and the county. And so we've met with county administration this past week and have a copy of that formal lease, and we'll be responding accordingly. Long-range facility planning committee, we want to avoid, if possible, paying rent long-term for athletic facilities. And so the long-range facility planning committee will be meeting, I think we have it scheduled for June 17th here at the Wilson to talk about options, whether the long-term option is Heroes Park or the long-term option is something on district property. We are knowing that we can't depend on startup fundraising year after year. That was a one-year ask, and so we need to build the ongoing costs for baseball into the existing athletics and activities budget. We are planning for that for 25-26, and Mark's been working with the other AA, his counterparts on what those anticipated costs will be above and beyond the $100,000. And then we don't want the addition of baseball to take away from other activities currently in place. So it's, in essence, it's going to be a budget add to our general fund budget at the high school. And then when all those boxes are checked, we have a September deadline to communicate with Montana High School Athletic Association that we're moving forward with baseball. We intend to get all of this wrapped up to meet that deadline, and ultimately MHSA would need to approve that, and this board would need to approve that as well. Mr. Waterman, am I missing anything? Okay, am I missing anything from your end? Okay.
All right, well, thank you. Is there any other questions or comments from the trustees? Any other public comment?
I was just gonna say that one just misconception is that we're just high school parents doing this. We really targeted the whole community, and so if you did attend the fundraiser, you saw there was a lot of younger parents. So this is something that's not just, it's gonna fizzle out in a year or two. We really raised the funds. We sold the tickets on May 15th for our fundraiser. They sold out in 2 days. And it was yeah, we easily raised our funds, and it was because we really targeted the younger players, because if you look at our Bozeman youth program, we have a lot of players compared to when my boys were playing. They have 2 to 3 teams for each of their sections compared to that one. So I think it's just important that, yeah, we've raised the funds and just continue with the momentum of getting high school baseball implemented.
Greg?
Casey, can you, or Mike, just take a little bit deeper dive on budget add? We just cut 4.3 million a couple years ago. Tell me more about what that means, budget add.
Trustee Neal, we've done some initial work on that. Mark Ader's done some compiling of some numbers. So with all sports, you've got travel costs, you've got umpire costs or referee costs associated with it. And in addition to that, stipends for coaches, all the coaches that we have to pay. In addition to that, for baseball, we've got a facilities issue that we would need to address, probably some kind of rental situation in the short term, and to be determined in the long term. We've got some real preliminary numbers, like on an ongoing basis, to include stipends, to include the travel costs, to include the referee umpire costs. It's running about $85-ish thousand. I don't want, I give you that number, but I don't want you to think it's that precise at this point, because it's not. So relatively the equivalent of a teacher is what this is going to cost, and that's before we get to the space cost on top of that. So it's a significant add. With the fundraising, it'll get us off the ground. Startup costs, get the initial teams going, but on an ongoing basis, you know, the operational costs alone are about the equivalent of a teacher, and then more for whatever the space rental ends up costing.
I'll add to that, that we went into the negotiation cycles this year with some known costs off the top. So for example, the literacy coach that I talked about at K5, the 2 MLEL positions, high school baseball was another one of those adds. And so you saw the inflationary increase from the legislature, 3% in the next 2 years. You saw the STARS Act, and then you also see increased enrollment at the high school, which, and we've communicated over time that the high school budget's in better shape than the K-8 budget. So we fit it in there on the front end, and we're transparent with the BEA that those were the items that we were coming in with, and so we couldn't negotiate with those dollars.
Sandy?
I'm just curious because I don't know anything about baseball, but will there just be one team, a varsity team, or it's kind of in the weeds, but just curious.
We're planning for a sub-varsity and a varsity team at both buildings, so 4 teams total.
Any other questions or comments? All right, well, I would just add, I know you guys said if there was anything else, I think I maybe heard that, maybe I made it up in my own mind, but I know we talked about Title IX. We're looking at them for volleyball. I do know that our numbers in softball are low, and even though Gallatin, as an example, had a great year, my daughter played softball. I know from the organization, and you mentioned that you guys had a youth program. And from what I've seen, you guys are very well organized and understand how to do that. I think that's the biggest challenge for girls softball, is that the younger ages is not well organized. It's hard to find when rec starts, when it stops. You can coach it, and then the next year you don't get any information back from them saying we're having another season. So, and I know that's completely outside of this, but I think that would be could be a future significant impact to the community from a Title IX standpoint. That because you guys, and I only say it to you guys because I know how organized you are and how successful you guys are at the younger ages, and starting that and making it organized and making it the ability for people to know where to go and start those kids at a younger age. I think that would be a significant help to our community for those other programs. I know it's a different size ball, different bases, but some similarities enough. You still have a bat, you can still hit a ball, you still have gloves. So just my thought from seeing that over the years. Because there's definitely, and I know I've talked to the Gallatin coaches as well. It sounds like next year their numbers, they had some great senior class this year, and their numbers are going to probably, they're expecting to go down next year, and Bozeman struggled to get just a JV team. So that's just my suggestion. That's all it can be. So, but thank you guys for all your effort. Thanks for the information, Casey and Mike, number crunching, all of this to figure it out. And Mark, same to you as well. So thank you.
Wrestling is astronomical. The clubs, they've got new clubs in town that's going to absolutely double, triple, quadruple the number of girls in wrestling here in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder as well. Yeah, so, and then also if I could just ask you guys name and email address. We're simplifying, so that would be great. So thank you very much. All right, we're good on that one. Thank you. Any public comment? Don't everybody run up at the same time. All right, we'll move on from that. Reports, executive cabinet.
Yeah, I've got one for the board. We just met, Lacey was part of this. We just met last week for our second year of the transition to teaching program that we started last year, and really happy to announce that we had 11 new candidates this year. So 5 that'll do kind of the full tuition program, and another 6 that will do the ABC to Teach. So so that's really going well.
Trustee Black, I'm going to take a few minutes. We started the School Funding Interim Commission meetings last week in Helena, and just want to give you a quick report. Trustee Burleson was there for a day and a half at the MTSBA building, and Representative Matthews was there as well. Lot of conversation. This is a graph, and I'll walk you through it in a second, but there's a presentation from a researcher out of Georgetown University. A lot of time spent, a lot of challenging questions, I would say, asked of the people in attendance, legislators, trustees, administrators, and some even private homeschool folks, talking about just the challenging questions that we face as an education community. This is a graph that they shared. I thought it was particularly interesting, a scatter plot. It's not my graph, and so I'm just showing you someone else's work right now, which is a little bit weird. But this is a comparison of Montana school districts. This is actual Montana school data comparing spending on the x-axis, so spending per pupil along the bottom, along the x-axis in increasing amounts per pupil expenditures versus reading proficiency. And the grid, the kind of the gray lines down the middle represent the averages, average per pupil expenditures and average reading scores. You see average reading scores for the state somewhere in the 45% range. Average per pupil expenditures is around $19,000 per year. So there's equal number of I should tell you, there's each circle represents a district. And the size of the circle represents the size of the district. So AA district circles are bigger, little tiny districts are smaller. And then the colors represent the relative wealth of that district. So green districts represent relatively wealthy districts. Red districts are relatively poor districts. And then the yellow ones are somewhere in the middle. So the vertical line in there, about $19,000, that's the split. So about half the districts in the state are on the left, half are on the right. Same with that horizontal number, that average. Half are above that line, half are below. So the legislature spent a lot of time looking at that upper left-hand quadrant in particular. That's the ones that of most interest to them. That's where the most value is, return on investment. So the school is spending the least amount per pupil, and generating the most return is in terms of actual reading score. So the question becomes is how does the state design a system to take advantage of the knowledge that those schools have and emulate that in the best way possible. So About a day and a half, that was the biggest outcome for me. I'll give Trustee Bertelson a chance to reflect on that here in a second. And then we went into the first meeting of the School Funding Interim Commission at the Capitol. There's 20-ish members, I think, on that committee. Kind of an organizational meeting to start off. We elected a chair and a vice chair, who happens to be Representative Matthews, will be the vice chair of that interim committee. Organizational stuff, there was an overview provided of the school funding formula of House Bill 153, which Trustee Lucine worked on to a significant extent. He actually provided some testimony in Helena on Wednesday. The committee is looking forward to moving forward with a sole source vendor to do a study to find out what the high-performing districts and states across the U.S. and across the world are doing to fund their education that we aren't doing, so we could potentially change our model to follow that. And then some discussion about I'm going to forget the committee name, the Innovation and Excellence in Working Group. There's additional committee members besides the School Funding Interim Commission who will be added to that group to provide some feedback and recommendations to the larger group this coming fall. So I just wanted to share that with you. I know we'll get into Board of Trustees in a second, but I want to give Trustee Bertelson a chance to reflect on her experience there in Helena and give you all a chance to answer questions we have.
Well, first of all, I'm really glad you're showing this graph because a bunch of us sat around and kept checking that upper left-hand quadrant to see where Bozeman schools were, and there's a lot of Bozeman schools represented in there. I think my takeaway from that day and a half is that it was a very provoking discussion. I really appreciated that there was a variety and diversity of stakeholders in the room, that we were spread out. And I think the message that I walked away with is that we have some good advocates on that decennial study, which was what my first concern was. And I think they heard loud and clear, and I'm very, very heartened by who was elected as chair and vice chair for those committees, that will be able to, it feels hopeful how that study is going to come out and moving forward. So yeah, my takeaway was it was a spirited discussion and many strong advocates across the state that were, I think, pushing back is what I want to say, and representing the best interests for schools across Montana. So that was inspiring too in that way, even when I sat there with lots of angst. I was really grateful for the presence of Bozeman. Like Mike you were there, Eric was there, Peter Strand was also there, Melissa Romano, who's a teacher in Helena, she was there. And at one point that was like pointed out, like how many of us in here are actually still in the system? And Melissa Romano was the one district employee who still works full time in classrooms who was there. And I thought that was just an excellent point. So, yeah.
Sandy?
Is there a facilitator to this?
So there's two kind of separate meetings. The School Funding Interim Commission participated in this presentation at the MTSB headquarters for last Tuesday and Wednesday morning. And then the commission itself met at the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon. So for the meeting at the MTSBA building with where that graph was shared and the conversation Trustee Bertelson was talking about, that was facilitated. The School Funding Interim Commission is self-guided by Representative Beatty and then chaired by Representative Matthews, Vice Chair Representative Matthews.
Casey.
And I'll share this document with trustees, but Mr. Waterman and I, AA superintendents meet on a weekly basis, and we're asked by school administrators in Montana to put together AA priorities from the superintendent lens for the decennial study. And we circle back.
I can add that. You want me to add that to the slideshow real quick? I think I can do that.
It's right here.
Oh, are you talking about the graph? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I shouldn't interrupt.
What? Tell me more.
That's the graph on there.
Oh. Yeah, I'll touch on your graph in a minute. Couple things I want to talk about with this. We quickly settled on AA priorities, some of the same priorities that the previous decennial study worked on: recruitment and retention, school facilities and technology, special education, special needs, including English learners. Some of those items are already in the funding form or in the definition of free basic public education, some of those not. And then this final one on district size, structure, and equity, that kind of taboo conversation around consolidation. AA superintendents have ongoing and mounting concerns around the representation we are receiving from the organizations that we pay dues towards. Montana Schools Boards Association, School Administrators of Montana, MQEC, and there's some others on the list. And we're beginning to have further regular conversations around just removing ourselves from those organizations is not the solution, because we lose our voice completely then, but leaning into those organizations and having some further conversations. And so that's my goal in the next year, is to meet with the leaders of those organizations and explain my frustrations around Montana AA school districts represent 43% of the enrollment across the state. But when you move to most of those organizations, it's similar to like Mark going to an MHSA meeting. Every district gets a vote type of thing. So when you have 400 school districts, the 8 school districts with 43% of the kids are drowned out in that conversation, and yet we are paying a considerable amount of general fund dollars to support those organizations. So I haven't said that in a public meeting before, but I'm saying it in a public meeting today, and I'm going to keep telling that story. This graph Mike and I put together during the last legislative session. If you move from left to right, you have small school districts on the left and larger school districts on the right. The data shows that large school districts spend way less per pupil and get better results. And there's some reasons for that. Way less per pupil is all about economics and economies of scale. In this room today, we've had conversations about multilingual English learner position focused on coaching our teachers, multilingual English learner position focused on direct student support, a reading coach at Highlight and Whittier focused on doing equity work and supporting those. Those are not conversations that small school districts can have because they don't have economies of scale. And so they still have to have a clerk and a superintendent and a principal and all of the things. And so my hope is that I am not out to take away anyone's local school district or local control. I am out to make sure that the decennial study pays attention to simple economics. And if we in this room or in any room were to build Montana public school system from scratch, it wouldn't have 400 districts. It makes no sense to have that many districts. And so I'll keep having those conversations. I will work through board leadership to make sure that I don't speak on behalf of the board. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm tired of watching this happen over and over again, where the conversations around funding formula are taking the current model and just tweaking it or adding more dollars to it. We have our taxpayers saying enough is enough across the state, and we need a new system of public education, and it can't run with 400 plus school districts in the long run.
All right, any questions or comments? Okay. Any other executive reports? Okay. Next, Board of Trustees, 7.2. Any reports? Yeah.
This is on the heels of what Casey's talking about, because we after we had that Dana Huff and Helena with the education finance, and when they went to their decennial study, we had our board of directors meeting, and what I walked away with, like, we had a very long discussion about what is the value of MTSBA to our trustees. So there was, like, we had a lot of discussion. We talked about a lot of different things. And currently at the moment, so I'm a municipal director, which means I'm representing Bozeman schools. But then I realized I'm also like the vice chair of the region. So Region 9, we had Kara Edgars, who was a trustee up in Big Sky, is actually the regional director representing this whole area. So it includes Park County, Madison, Mara, I have to look at it, but it's kind of like this whole skinny area. And we currently don't have a regional chair for that area. What I walked away with is I'd love to have just conversations with each of you individually at some time and just talk about MTSBA and see what that role is and what that looks like. So not, not for discussion here, but I just want to get a take from everybody and would love to meet with each of you about what is the value, because there's this recognition of, it's dropped. People don't attend, the meetings, people are not as engaged. There's a lot of services I think that are used, like I know we attend Think Tank Thursdays, and that there's some video online training that's utilized by the board, but I know MTSBA would like to know how to bring more value to the trustees and for the kids that we serve. So that's in a nutshell what happened at our board meeting.
Any other trustee reports? All right, that said. Oh, I already asked for public comment. Yeah. Because we're in section 6 now. I didn't screw up that. But I appreciate you trying to make me feel bad and guilty. Wow. Jeez. Mike, haven't you been here for the whole meeting? Yeah. I'll adjourn this meeting.
Good job, Kevin.